You know, that's that smash mouth popper from Snag Proof. That's our new poppin' frog. Golly, that's a pretty bass. Around bushes and trees, twigs, when you drive it up underneath that stuff, the popper is not, the standard frog, the standard perfect frog is a lot better for coming over obstructions, walking over the top of little twigs and debris pockets and all that kind of stuff. But I'm dealing with these springtime bass, very temperamental. So even though the popper, I'm always messing around with colors, right? So I got an alabaster smash mouth popper from Snag Proof, and I put a little bit of bubblegum dye. Pink can trigger strikes in the springtime. It's a, I don't know if it's a love or hate color, right? They either love it or they hate it, because when they eat it, sometimes they eat it like they just love that thing, or sometimes they eat it like they just hate that thing. But there are a lot of times with that bubble gum, with yellow, with methylate, with those colors, they will either attack it or they will run from it. So it's kind of a 50, but anyway, I'm always messing around. I got so many different, I take my frogs and I doll them all up all the time. Always looking for the key to unlock the door, right? Always looking for that, just the master key. You never know. Hot Mess. We messed around with Hot Mess and came up with, you know, that amazing color. But for walking, you know, with that concave face on that guy, it just doesn't, when it hits sticks, sometimes it just doesn't come over. It'll tumble a lot. But, you know, I deal with it because there are those times where I get it, it tumbles over a stick. I know she's in there. I know she hears it. And it tumbles, and sometimes, you know, that could be a type of silhouette reaction. They've never seen that before. What's that crazy thing doing? What is that? Is it a frog? Is it a frog? Is it a bug? Is it a mouse? What is it? I don't care. It'll fit in my mouth. I gotta have it, right? And I think that's, a lot of times they don't think through it like that, I don't think, but you will get those fish to trigger on it because it just did something crazy. It just tumbled through there. But when I get it into the open water pockets, that's when that smash mouth popper really excels, because I give them a bloop, bloop. They're not used to hearing that up inside there. And a lot of times you will draw that fish from maybe a yard away, maybe 3. I've seen them come from, you know, 2 to 3 yards where they'll just wake over to it because I went bloop, bloop. On a standard frog, on a standard walking of the frog, if you come over them and you're within this far, they'll eat it. But sometimes the drawing power of a popping frog up inside extremely heavy cover, it can be very exciting. Oh boy, there's a good one. That's the difference. I throw the regular frog over there, nothing happens. I grab that popper, bloop, bloop, that's what they want. Oh, she dove down in the grass. Come here. Come here. She wanted that bloop, bloop. As long as it's in a somewhat of a shad type pattern, this is Hot Mess. I wanted to see if they'd bite Hot Mess too. They'll bite Hot Mess, they'll bite Gray Ghost. As long as it's got that shad look to it, they are all over it. But I've thrown the regular frog over there. They will not bite it. I've thrown the perfect frog over there. I've thrown the fat frog over there, pop, 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 walk it through, nothing. I throw these guys over there. I throw the smash mouth popper over there, poppin' style frog, bloop, bloop. Ooh, it's awesome. Woo! When should I throw a poppin' frog style bait over a regular standard style frog bait? When they are going, ooh, on this thing. That's when you do it. It's every day is different. Some days they'll eat it, some days they just won't. The standard frog works out better. But when you, that's why you gotta have both styles on, especially after May. From May through September, that's when that poppin' style really excels. Well, I'll tell you what, that is just amazing. That is just amazing. I'll tell you what these guys are doing. Settle down. These guys will not eat that smashmouth popper or any frog unless it lands in the grass. You know, guys will say, well, how come you just don't pick up a pop bar and throw it over there? They won't eat it like that. If it lands in open water, blop, 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 zero. It's got to start in the grass. That is the biggest advantage of a poppin' style frog, like the snag-proof smashmouth popper. It is an amazing bait. You throw it right, a lot of these fish are sitting underneath the canopy and they just don't want to come out. It's 100 degrees outside. The water temperature's in the upper 80s and 90, 91, 92. They're a little lazy, a little sluggish, very selective. But they can be coaxed and talked out of that. I can't get too close. The water's extremely clear. Not much wind in this little pocket right here. They're tucked up underneath the canopy. They've got to be talked out. So the canopy's here. My popper lands right here, and she kind of looks up, and then it goes into the open water, blop, blop, and she comes out into the open and eats it. If this smashmouth popper lands in open water, blop, 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 I've got 0 bite. Well, I got 1 bite. The rest of my bites, it lands on top of the grass. That's where it's got to start. And then come off, blop, 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 and they come get it. What an amazing, awesome pattern that you cannot do with a regular poppin' style bait. It's got to be a weedless poppin' bait, like the snag-proof smashmouth popper. It's perfect. This is Hot Mess. This is one of my favorite colors. If they're on that shad pattern, gray ghost, hot mess, you can't go wrong.